All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we've got some green, yellow Trafalgar Law action lined up for you. That's right. We got a very interesting list to go over today, messing around with some of the new OP-14 support. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop right into this. Let me lay out the video first. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to the deck list. We'll break that down. I'll give you guys an idea of what we're working with today. And then after that, we're going to head over to the sim. We've got 3 games to go over on the sim. And then after that, we will recap. I'll tell you guys what I think about this leader moving forward. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is brought to you by Nin Garden. And right now, when you buy any 2 playmats, you can get the non-stitched Sun God playmat for $9.99. On top of that, you can buy any 2 pins to get the 3rd for 50% off. So be sure to use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for 10% off of your next order. Alright guys, let's go ahead and break down the deck list for today's video, starting off with the leader. So Trafalgar Law is a 5,000 power, 4 life, green, yellow, Heart Pirates, Supernova, Dressrosa type leader with the effect Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. If the total cost of your characters is 5 or more, you can return one of your characters to the hand and then reveal the top card of your life. And if that card is a Supernova type character card with a cost of 5 or less, you can play it. Okay? We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So now we're going to go over each card in the deck. Be sure to pause and read what each one of these cards do as we go over them, okay? So we're running 4 of the 2K counter Perona. Okay, this is from OP-09. We're running 3 Carrot, 3 of the Secret Blocker Bonnie. We're running 4 of the OP-14 Perona, 4 X-Drake, 3 of the 7 cost Bonnie, 2 of the 8 cost Secret Rosinante, 2 of the 9 cost Secret Mihawk, 2 Law and Beppo, and then we're running the entire package from OP-14 for the Thriller Bark Pirate stuff. Or we're running maybe not the entire package, but the main core, the main bulk of the Thriller Bark Pirates package in 4 Kumasi, 4 Absalom, 4 Sindri, 4 Dr. Hogback, 4 Perona, and 3 of the 8 cost Gecko Moria. So guys, what is this monstrosity? What are we looking at here? So we have to really focus on what this leader effect does. We don't really have all that many 5 cost or lower Supernova characters in the deck, do we? Okay, in fact, I think we only have these 3 Bonnies and these 4 X-Drakes. That's all we have for 5 cost or lower Supernova cards in the deck. However, that doesn't really matter because we're not trying to lose life with this deck by getting extra tempo on the board. Well, except from triggers, which we'll talk more about in a minute when we get to the Thriller Bark Pirates package. But check this out, guys. That Dawn ×1 effect on this leader, as long as we have 5 costs worth of characters or more on the board, we can attach a Dawn to our leader and pull back a character to our hand. And then, yes, we do still have to reveal the top card of our life, and then we could choose to do whatever from there. If it is a Bonnie or a X-Drake, we could choose to play it out, or we could choose not to. Right? It says. Let me see if the total cost, hang on, let me get to the bottom, reveal the top card of your life. If that card is a Supernova type character card with a cost of 5 or less, I think it should say you may play it. It says you can play it, but I think the technical wording is you may play it. I don't think you actually have to, right? So long story short, we're not actually trying to use this effect to play cards from the top of our life. We're actually just trying to use this effect, kind of abuse this effect, by pulling back cards like this Perona Searcher so we can just get extra value over the course of the game. Now, this Perona is a 2K counter searcher. It is actually really, really solid. Notice what it does. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. This is on play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type card, okay? Or a Dracula Mihawk and put it into your hand. Then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then discard 1 card from your hand. So to be fair, this card doesn't generate a lot of actual hand advantage, if any at all, because you're actually just, you're playing out this card, and then you're doing a top 5 search, but then you're discarding a card. So you're not really going plus or even, going neutral in hand size, but you are fixing your hand a little bit. And sometimes what's even more important is you're putting the card you want into your trash, right? You're doing the top 5 search, and then you're putting the card you want into your trash to pull out of the trash later with your triggers. You guys see what's going on there? And then we can keep pulling this card back to our hand very easily with our leader's effect, as long as we have 5 costs or more worth of characters on the board. So this Perona is very nice. And in fact, all of the Peronas in this deck are very good cards to pull back with your leader's effect for further value over the game. This 4-cost Perona, I have to say, guys, real quickly before we go any further, this new yellow Thriller Bark Pirates package from OP-14 is absolutely incredible. Yellow, I don't think Yellow really had a very strong identity ever since like Big Mom Pirates back in OP-03, and even most people would argue even that identity was not crazy, but it was at least some type of tribal, deck type that you could run to have some kind of synergy so you could build the deck in a certain way and have any form of consistency, right? Well, and I'm sure there were a few others, like Sky Island had a decent package, I think, for Calgara. I'm sure there were a few along the way, but guys, Yellow has really, I don't think Yellow's ever had a built-in package as strong as this yellow Thriller Bark Pirates packages from OP-14. And this Perona in particular is incredible, and it's a great card that we can keep pulling back to our hand if we need to with our leader's effect, just to slow our opponent down. 4-cost 5k, 1k counter, on play and on KO, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, sounds good. We can just lock down their attack. And then next turn, we can attack in with this character, and then 1 Dawn on our leader, pull it back to our hand, and go from there and recycle it later if we need to. And then now they can't even attack into it to get rid of it. And even if they do, we get to lock down an attack. And even if they do and it goes to the trash, no problem. We can pull that out of the trash with a trigger in the future, or with our Gecko Moria. Now, the other Perona, this Perona here is incredible. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter Perona with on play. Up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. Now, this card can only hit a 5 or less, and this other Perona can hit a 6. However, this hits 2 characters that cost 5 or less, and they cannot rest until the end of their next turn. So that means they can't block or attack, or even do some type of activate main effect that requires them to tap. So this card is really strong. It is a little bit pricey to be pulling back to your hand to recycle with your leader's effect, but hey, if it's going to win you the game, you just do it, right? Because this could shut down your opponent's attacker, or excuse me, blockers for when you have to swing for lethal. Okay, so really, really powerful card here. Let me talk about this carrot now. I want to save revisions to the end. I don't think this card really came up all that much. This is probably a card we can cycle out of the deck and maybe put in something like a 5-cost Supernova card. In fact, let me just bring up Supernova cards real quick for green and yellow. There's quite a few of them, obviously, but we could probably take out this carrot for something else. I mean, even if it's something like this, this Basil Hawkins, that's kind of interesting. Maybe something like this. That's a Supernova card. Of course, Cavendish, the 5-cost Cavendish could be a very interesting card in the deck, getting access to extra Dawn while making our big plays with our leader and pulling stuff back. That could be very interesting as well. We have a lot of options. Let me say that right now. But again, let me say that to the end of the video. But Carrot did not come up all that much in my testing. And then another card we're going to talk about, I just want to get it out of the way right now. This Rosinante is a very cool card. Pause and read it if you don't know what it does. But it can only play out a 5-cost character. And that actually is not as good as another card we should be running in the place of it, which is this 8-cost Mihawk. We are running a lot of 4-cost and lower relevant targets in this deck. So even if we play out this Dracula Mihawk on curve, this is actually... Number one, I should also mention it's searchable with our Perona, which is very, very, very strong. But it's not just that. Being able to play this out on 8 and then stand forward on and then play out something like a Hogback or a Perona, that is a massive tempo play there, right? Like, that actually helps us out so much. We establish a blocker on the board, and who knows, we could have potentially taken life aggressively in that game, to get some extra tempo on the board. So we get a blocker on the board. We might lock down one of their attacks. I just think, let me just say this right now, guys. This Rosinante will not be in the final version of the deck after I've made some mental revisions and I started thinking about it. This 8-cost Mihawk is just perfect for what we're trying to do. And like I said, the fact that it's searchable by Perona, and then it lets us play out these 4-cost yellow targets just using, the on play to stand up your 4 rested Dawn. Yeah, this card's actually it's just meant for this version of the deck. I wish I had this in today's games just to show y'all. I can't imagine this being bad for the deck. Now, some other cards to talk about real quick. We do have this 5-cost Bonnie, just a pure utility blocker. This card's fine, and I was running it mainly with this card right here, this Rosinante. But if I take this card out, I'm not sure if this 5-cost Bonnie will stay. We'll have to see what happens there, but it might. You know, you never know. In this 7-cost Bonnie here, I don't know. I really like this card. I'll probably keep it as a 2 of, but I don't think we need 3 of them. Worst case scenario, it's a 1K counter. But guys, notice what it does. 7 cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter. On play, up to one of your opponent's rested characters will not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase. Then at the end of your turn, set up to one of your Dawn cards is active. So just being able to lock down your opponent's stuff, that's very relevant, right? That's actually very important in my opinion. However, I'm also running Law and Beppo. So it's one of those situations where it's like, maybe it's just better to run more of these, or maybe even the 10-cost Doflamingo if I'm just going for this effect, because this isn't really the card I want to play out with tempo, at least not very often. There are some times where this card might just be the best option in that given situation, but I think it's going to be more rare. You know, it's going to be not as often, we'll say. All right, and then I think there's one other card we have to talk about, guys, in here before we go over to the games, and it's this 9-cost Mihawk. This card, if you cannot rest this card on the turn in which you play it, I don't think this card's worth running. That's just me. I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. But if you're not running this card in Dracula Mihawk, or if you don't have some way to rest it on the turn you play it with something like a, what's it called, Samurai, like a card like this where you can rest the card down, then it's probably not worth running the card. Because if you spend your entire turn to develop a 9-cost, 10,000 power character and you do nothing, there's just no on play, there's nothing that happens from it, yeah, that's just not realistic, right? That becomes like a win more card at that point. Whereas if I were to replace these 2 Dracula Mihawks with 2 more of the 8-cost Mihawk that we talked about, like this card right here, then all of a sudden, I just feel like it just makes the entire deck better, right? We can play it out a turn earlier, and then when we play it out, we get a blocker, and then we also get to cheat out something like maybe another blocker with Sindri, or this Hogback, or this Perona. And if we're playing it out on a 9 or 10 Dawn turn, like when we would have to play out this card, well, now we get access to all of our 5-cost options as well. So I just think that this card is just strictly better. And again, I'll save the revisions till the end, but it's probably going to be -2 of this Mihawk and -2 of this Rosinante, and just +4 of this 8-cost Mihawk. Because, I just think it's just a strict improvement on the list. Okay, well, that's about it, guys. I just want to check one more thing. Yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. We do have 12. We have 12 2K counters, and we're running a lot of blockers and a lot of ways to lock cards down, so there's a lot of defensive capabilities here. Now, let's hop over to the sim, guys, and check this deck out in action. All right, guys, first game up we have against Black-Yellow Gecko Moria. Okay, so let's get the volume off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Actually, real quick before we start, going first versus going second. Going second is nice because you actually get to go straight into a 4-Dawn turn, right, where you can play out your 4-cost characters. And, you know, going first, of course, we can play out Perona. It doesn't even matter. But, you know, I think going second is our preference, so we can stay on the even curve and get straight to our 8-cost Mihawk and just go from there. And even on a 6-Dawn turn, it's not that bad because we can attach a Dawn to our leader, play out a 4-cost character, play out the Perona, do some searching, pull it back, and go from there, right? So there is, going second is really nice, but going first is not terrible either because we do have the 1-cost, the 1-cost Perona play, going into a 3-cost Absalom, and then going into a lot of different 5-cost options as well. So going first or second is completely fine whichever way you go, but I think second is preferred. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is not a great start. It looks like we're going to keep this. I was going to say it might have been smarter to mulligan, but we're going first, and we do have an Absalom for turn 2, so that's not the worst case scenario. All right, so the Gecko Moria player plays out in a new pay, draw 2, trash 2. We're going to swing for 5, and we're just going to establish this Absalom. Very straightforward, very easy play line here. And then next turn, we can go straight into a Perona to stop whatever they try this turn. So they're going to swing in for 5. I think we're going to counter out of that just to get a card. Let me talk about that real quick, guys. Pause 1 second. If you're playing with this new Thriller Bark Pirates package, you might actually want to counter out of your first attack almost no matter what to get a card into your trash that you can pull out of the trash with a potential trigger. Okay, so be sure to look out for that. Okay, so they follow up with a hog back, and then they pass the turn. We're going to swing 5, swing 6, and then we're just going to play out a Perona, lock down their hog back, and we're going to pass to them. So, hey, you know, they're playing the Thriller Bark Pirates package, and so are we. 2 can play that game. They're going to go ahead and play out a 6-cost Gecko Moria, bringing back the Absalom, attaching a Dawn to their leader. Now they can KO the Absalom or the Hogback or the Inupe, draw 2 trash 2 on that on KO for the Inupe, and now they're going to be able to swing for 7. Where are they going to go? 7 into 5. Okay, so we end up getting a 2K counter Perona from that on KO search from Absalom, so top 3 search. And now we're going to go ahead. We have 7 Dawn for the turn. I don't know if we're going to be able to battle into this board, guys, but we might try it. We just might try it. We'll go 6 into 5. Let him do a search. That's fine with me. As long as he doesn't get to keep the body on the board, that's all that matters to me. Okay, we have 6 more Dawn to work with for the turn. We're going to swing for 6. Okay, they take that hit. They're down to 2 life. Did they get a trigger? We're waiting to see if they're going to resolve a trigger or not. They choose to use the trigger, and they're going to play out a 3-cost Absalom. Very nice. We're going to play out the Perona here to do a top search. Okay, and then we have to trash a card. We'll trash the Sindri, and now we're going to pull back the Perona to our hand, revealing the top card of our life, which is another 2K counter Perona. We play out a 4-cost Perona to lock down their 6-cost Gecko Moria, and we pass the turn back. Okay, they play out a Gecko Moria, an 8-cost Gecko Moria. They got the perfect curve here, guys, going 4-cost, 6-cost, 8-cost like that, going second. This is a very strong curve for the black-yellow Gecko Moria player. So they're going to swing for 6, 6, 7. I'm going to take the first one. I'm going to 2K counter out of this one, and now they're going to swing for 7. We'll let that go and lock down their Absalom, but it'll go off at the end of their turn, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, here we go. So we have 9 Dawn to work with here, and we're just going to, it looks like we're actually going to attack into their leader. Okay, they give me a 1K counter, and now we could potentially lock down 2 attacks this turn with the Perona. Looks like we're going to do that. Looks like we're going to play out the 8-cost Rosinante, cheating out the Perona, locking down 2 of their attackers for next turn, attaching a Dawn to our leader, and swinging for 6. Okay, so they're down to 3 cards in hand. Okay, they play out something. I think they, they KO'd their Dr. Hog back to play out a Sindri. That buffed their entire board, and they still have 3 attacks, but we do have 3 life, so we're not at jeopardy of losing right now, but this is getting a little bit scary. They're going to go 7 into 5. I think we should take that and just lock down their 6-cost Gecko Moria. They'll go 13 into 8. They clean up my board, and then they're going to play out a Perona and pass the turn back. Yeah, they're thinking about playing out a 2-cost character. They played that a little bit out of order. They probably should have done things a little bit differently there, but that's okay. Okay, we play out the Perona here. We're going to try to draw some cards. Looks like we're going to just grab a Mihawk, and then we'll probably end up just trashing the Mihawk. I was just trying to fix my hand to get some 2K counters or a 1K counter. Ended up not finding anything good there. Not a big deal. We're going to attack in with the Perona first here, I believe. Let's see. I'm contemplating what I want to do. Yeah, I think we need to do that. I think that's the play, guys. So we're going to swing for 6 into 6. They're probably going to take this or block. Okay, block in 1K. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. And now we can swing 6K more into the Perona, and they can use the Sindri to block out of that. We're going to pull back the Perona first. There's an 8-cost Rosinante on top of our life. We're going to go 6 into 6. They'll use the Sindri. Very nice. And now we're going to play out the Gecko Moria, and then we're going to play out the Perona probably to the board to lock down this Gecko Moria, the 6-cost Gecko Moria. All right, guys, this is coming down to it here. And remember, guys, we are in 2x speed. This game is just taking a while. This ended up being a slugfest here because everyone's locking down everything. Everyone's recycling life or cards from trash or whatever. You know, we're doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans here. They're going to go 7 into 5. They're done playing this game. They're like, yeah, I don't like that. So they're gonna go ahead and swing for 7 at life. I'm going to go ahead and block out of that, or 2K, 1K out of that, and now I'll see what they choose to do from here. Because they have to get through with every single attack, by the way. If they were trying to win on this turn right here, they would have to get through with every single attack. Right? They have no other option. Okay, 9 into 6. We can just let that go. It says you may rest one of your cards to play out a 5-cost. It looks like we probably are going to do that. Yeah, we're probably going to rest down the Perona, maybe. And then we can play out, or the Gecko Moria, because that's the bigger target. Looks like I'm thinking about tapping down the Perona, playing out the Joribani, draw 2, trash 1, Stand of Dawn is active. And here we go. That was a nice little synergy there with that new 5-cost green Perona. That card is nice, guys. 11 into 5, that's fine. We'll lock down their blocker. They probably weren't going to attack with the blocker anyway, but hey, now they're definitely not attacking with it. All right, very nice. There's that 7-cost Bonnie coming out of nowhere to kind of save the day. Guys, that card's kind of came out of nowhere to save the day here. We'll see if I end up using it, though. Could also maybe try to go for lethal. No, I can't really go for lethal. They have 2 life, and I only have 2 attacks. My Bonnie cannot attack. So we're going to go 6 into 5. They take that. Do they have any triggers? I attacked first, so that way they could not play a trigger to the board unless they want to replace one of their characters on the board. Right? Okay. Just waiting on my opponent right now. They are going to use the trigger. What are they going to play out? What are they going to play out? I already can't attack with my Bonnie. Maybe they're going to pull out a blocker. Yeah, so they play out a blocker. That's probably not a terrible idea. But at the same time, guys, I think we're probably just going to play out a Perona here. Let's see what we choose to do. They do have a blocker on the board. We're going to go 12 into 10. This should take their Perona off the board. Very nice. And now we're going to lock down their Gecko anyway with that 7-cost Bonnie. And then we're going to pass the turn. I was considering pulling a card back to my hand there with my leader effect, but we didn't really have a great option. We didn't really have that great of an option. I wanted to go 2 over the power of the Gecko, so they would use their blocker, more than likely. Okay, so they swing for 7 into 5. They only have... Guys, I mean, we could take all these attacks, to be honest. Like, they're only going to have 2 attacks, or we could take both of these to refill our hand if we need to. Okay, what are they going to choose to do now? They're going to swing in for 9. Sure. Right? I mean, that doesn't really matter too much to us because we can get some triggers now. Yep, we'll take that. And now, watch this, Perona locking down their final attack. They were probably going to try to go for lethal there by attacking. Yep, and they just go ahead and tap out. Good game to my opponent. They go ahead and concede because I think they were so far up against the wall, they were just going to load up the remaining 6 Dawn on the Sindri and swing for 8,000 and 8,000 or maybe 7,000 and 9,000. I think that was their whole entire plan there. Not sure. Either way, attacking into this kind of deck is very dangerous because if I hit just one of my, I think it's like 20 triggers we're running in the deck. If I hit just one of my 20 triggers, lockdown. Just absolute lockdown or, you know, getting other kind of utility out. It's just really solid. Okay, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. Now we got a game versus Blue-Purple Sanji. Volume is off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Now, I have to say this right now, guys. This version of Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law seems like a very hard counter to Blue-Purple Sanji. Because if they're playing that 3-cost 5k Sanji that can pretty much never be removed, they could just Dawn minus to save it every time. Well, we can just lock that down for the entire rest of the game. Quite literally, we can pull back 1 5-cost Perona every turn to lock that attack down every single turn. Like at least 2 of them every single turn. Okay, here we go. So they're just drawing like crazy, filling up their trash with a bunch of events. They're going to swing for 5. We 1k counter out with the Perona to get that into our trash. So that way, in case we hit any triggers, we can pull that out later. We play out the Hog back after swinging for 5, and they have a lot of cards in hand. They have a lot of cards in their hand. They're going to play out Karn, which is just a nice little blocker. Little 1-cost 1k counter blocker. You just have to have 4 more events in your trash to be able to block with it. They're going to swing for 5. We take that hit very greedily, trying to get a trigger, but we did not get one. And then they're going to pass turn back to us. We swing for 5, and then we're going to play out this. We're probably just going to play out this Perona here, guys. The 1-cost and the 5-cost. So we do a top 5 search with the Perona. We grab a Perona, and then we adjust the cards the way we want them. And now we have to trash a card. We'll trash the Sindri, and then we're going to be able to pull that card back to hand. So now we have a 2k counter in hand, and then we're going to play out the other 4-cost Perona, locking down their blocker, or making it where they can't attack. They actually could still block with it. Oh, well, and now we're swinging in for 6. All right, the main idea is we're just establishing threats on the board now, because one way to deal with Sanji, for those who are wondering, you go really wide on the board, because if you go for really big attacks, they can just use a Gum Gum Giant and get out of it most of the time. So the better idea is just go 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 across the board, because it eats up more cards from their hand or life. Okay, there's the first Sanji. Hey guys, we're not very scared of that card, are we? Not very scared of that Sanji. They're going to swing for 5. I could greedily take... I do very greedily take that. Okay, and we play out the Perona here. We're locking down the Sanji, but they couldn't attack this turn anyway because they just played it. And then we get another Perona. Guys, we see three of our 4-cost Peronas this game. They're in a lot of trouble. So we play out the 1-cost Perona. We fix our hand, putting the other Perona in the trash. We lock down their 2 cards here where they can't rest. We're going to pull back the Perona before we attack in case they get some kind of trigger. We're swinging in for 5, and then it's going to be swing for 5, swing for 5, swing for 6, or maybe 7. Yep, so 3 5s and a 7. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal, guys. They're down to 1 life. They can't swing with any of those 2 characters. They couldn't even block with the Karn because of that new 5-cost Perona. Do they want to attack into my Perona? Doesn't matter to me. Does not matter to me. They're going to play out the 5-cost ratio. I'm looking through their trash right now. It looks like they don't have... They used a... was that a buff burst? I think they used a buff burst to push my card back to my hand. And then they're going to swing for 7. We're going to 2k, 1k counter to get out of that. And now, guys... I can just keep playing out these cards to lock down their board. If you're playing against a deck that has a very low cost, you can basically just lock them out of the game with a strategy like this. Okay, so we play out the Perona, we fix our hand a little bit, we lock down these two cards, we're going to pull back the Perona, there's a Perona on top of our life, and now we're just going to attack. It's just going to be 5, I think it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 7, I think is how this will go. Yeah, so 5, 6, 7, I mean, just absolutely brutal, right? I mean, this is hard to deal with. They are going to be able to block out of one attack, but let's see how they choose to do this. They 0-cost 3k just to get out of the 5k. Now we're coming in for 7, or 6, I mean, excuse me. Okay, now they're using a Gum Gum Giant to get out of a 6k attack. We're coming in for 7 more. They're probably going to have to, block this, take this one, and then we're going to pass the turn back. Guys, we have 2 life. They're never attacking with those 2 cards, guys. Just so everything's clear, they are never attacking with those 2 cards this game. Well, maybe. I guess if they Gum Gum Giant, or not Gum Gum Giant, if they, here we go. I was going to say, if they Gravity Blade Raging Tiger my 2 cards off the board, then they might be able to attack with one of them, because we'll pull back the Perona. They swing it for 5, we counter out of that, and now it's back to us. I mean, we do have a Gecko Moria in our trash, or in our hand as well. Okay, here we go. So what do we do now, guys? They have no blocker, so we're just going to go swing 5, swing 5, swing 15. That's the order of business here. I thought about this for a second. I was like, should I just push this to the next turn? Because I felt like I really could have just gone next turn with this. Because remember, guys, I can just literally play out my 8-cost Gecko Moria to put a card into my life. And then that's 3 attacks, you know, that I can just ignore. I just have to get out of 1 attack at that point, and I have 3 2k counters in my hand. So I play out the Perona, and then I go, you know what am I doing? You know, I started thinking to myself, what on earth am I doing? No, we're just going to swing for 14. So let's pause and do the math real quick. So if they use a Gum Gum Giant right now, so that will be their 1 Dawn. They won't have any more Dawn for events. And here's what that will look like. And remember, guys, they're already telling us from last turn they don't have a lot of counter power, right? They were having a 0-cost 3k to get out of my attacks and stuff like that. So here's the thing. If I swing for 14, or let's just say I'd swung for 15. That's what I should have swung with anyway after the 5 and 5. They have 4 cards left in hand. If they go Gum Gum Giant, right, that will put them up to, what is that, 9k. They will have to have drawn all 4 2k counters from there, right? Because that puts them at 9, and then we'll put them at 11, 13, 15, and then above that. Right, so it's one of those where I guess it's still a little bit risky because technically they could get out of it, but I think the chances are so slim, you probably just have to go for it most of the time. Okay, here we go. So we go ahead. Afterwards, I'm like, you know what? Whatever, dude. We're just going all in here. We swing for 14 into 5. They do have a Gum Gum Giant, and then they go, yeah, that's it, pause. So they have no extra counters in hand, and that's something we probably could have safely assumed as well, given how they countered out of last turn. They didn't have any counters in their hand. That's why they had to do things the way they did, using a 1-cost 4k to get out of a 6k attack. They didn't have any 2k counters, right? So that was kind of the tell there, and not to mention, look at the board, guys. They have 2 2k counters on the board and 2 1ks, and they're struggling the way they were. Yeah, the writing was on the wall for sure, but we almost got a little too greedy there to extend the game out. But the main, let me just say this, the main idea is this. What we probably should have done there was actually just 1 Dawn on our leader after attacking the way we did, pull the Perona back to our hand, play it out and lock down their Sanji, and then we just go from there. We could play out the Sindri and stuff like that, and then we still have the 2 2k counters. We would have been completely fine. Either way, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. We have one more game. We have a game versus Red Trafalgar Law. Let's go full screen, volumes off, speed on 2x, and here we go. Now, like I said, guys, any of the decks that have like a low cost curve, yeah, this deck just kind of locks them out of the game. And we have a decent amount of healing in here as well. And, you know, that's one thing I should have thought about. I'm not running the 6-cost Kuma. That just actually slipped my mind until right now. We probably can add that to the deck. We'll talk about that after this game. Okay, so here we go. They start off with, they're going second. We went first. We played on Perona. They get a very nice start here with the Basil Hawkins and the Monkey D. Luffy. So the Luffy can search on play, and the Basil Hawkins can search on KO and can play the card from the search to the board if it's a 2,000 power character. It has to be a 2,000 power character they search up anyway. That's Supernova, not named Basil Hawkins. They swing for 5. Okay. 3 Dawn, I think they searched up the 3-cost 5k Rush Zoro, not a big deal. We trash, we 1k counter out of that to get a card into our trash so that we can, you know, play out if they choose. Hang on, okay, so pause, hang on 1 second, guys. Yep. So what I was going to say was we trash the Perona just in case we get a trigger like what we just got so we can play that card out and lock down their board. But I had a feeling they were going to play out the 3-cost 5k Zoro there to attack in and then swap the Dawn over to the Basil Hawkins and attack in from there. But I guess they didn't have it or they chose not to do it yet. Okay, well that's no problem for us. We get the Perona on the board now. We go 2 into 2. He's gonna use the on KO there to do a top 5 search for a supernova character with 2,000 power or less, not named Basil Hawkins, and you can play it straight to the board like they just did. Okay, no problem. We're going to pull the Perona back to our hand. We have a 5-cost Perona on top of our life. We have to remember that. We're going to play out the Perona again to fix our hand. Then we're probably going to trash the 9-cost Mihawk. We're going to swing for 5, 5, 6, and establish a Sindri. Okay, or we could have done 5, 7, 7, but I think establishing the Sindri is a lot better. Okay, so they just counter out of that. We play out the Sindri, and we pass the turn. They're down to 3 life, by the way. We are putting on quite a bit of aggression here. We're putting on quite a bit of aggro. Okay, they're on their 6 Dawn turn. What are they going to choose to do now? That 1-cost killer is really nice because it can give a free Dawn every turn. Okay, 5 and a 5. We end up taking this. That was pretty greedy. Now, luckily, we didn't get punished too bad. They play out this 6-cost 7K Trafalgar Law, and they're going to attack in with a killer here. That's interesting. They didn't give the buff to the 1-cost Monkey D. Luffy, but either way, it didn't matter. I wasn't gonna try to protect it anyway. Okay, cool, guys. This 1-cost Perona is getting so much value. We're gonna go 2 into 1. They 2K counter out. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull the card back to my hand. We see a Kumasi on top of our life. That's very important to know. And now we can actually just. I think I'm gonna swing 1K into it with a Sentry here, guys. Watch this. Like, hey, go ahead, man. Keep saving that card if you want to, because these are free attacks I wasn't even going to use otherwise. So we swing for 5K into the leader. They give me a 1K. And now we have some pretty good cards in hand here. Unfortunately, the 5-cost Perona cannot lock down that Trafalgar Law. That is so unfortunate. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, we play out the Perona. And now we're going to have to search up a card. We get a 2K counter. We're going to trash a 5-cost Perona. We're going to swing for 5. We're going to play out the 5-cost Perona regardless and lock down the Luffy. And then we're going to pass it back. Okay, what do they want to do now? They play out the Zoro. Seems good. That's a very good follow-up here. They're going to go 5 into 1. We'll let that go. That blocker ended up getting used as a blocker anyway. Seems good. And now what are they going to do? They're going to swing for 8,000 into 5. We're going to 2K, 2K. Now they can swap the power over from their Zoro over to the Law, and they can attach their final Dawn to swing for 9 if they want to. You know. Okay, they're just going to swing for 7. We're going to take it. We knew there was a Kumasi on top of our life from our leader effect. And now we're going to play a card out to the board. Probably this, I could play out the blocker. Yeah, I like that as well for next turn. Because now I can use that to protect my board or life next turn. Okay, they have 1 Dawn left. They can't attack with the Luffy. So they're going to have to pass the turn back here whenever they're done. Okay, and here we go. So, guys, there's also an option we could try to start pushing for game, but I think I'd rather just go into their board, guys, to be honest. We'll have to see what I do here. That is an 8,000 power Zoro there and a 7,000 power Law. So we can attach 1 Dawn. Notice I'm kind of moving my mouse around, trying to do some math here. We're going to swing it for 5. They 1K counter out. Very nice. Now we might choose to go for the board. Okay, they counter out of that one too. Now we definitely should go for the board in my personal opinion. Just a quick little 7 into the Law. Okay, I guess I had other plans here. We're going to play it. Okay, nice. We know there's a Perona on top of our life now. Pause. All right, what just happened there? Watch this, guys. Watch this. So let me go back one more turn here, or one more, let me go back a little bit further. So right here, we swing for 6. Now watch this. We are going to pull back our 4-cost Perona to lock down the Trafalgar Law, and then we're going to pull back the Perona again, or play out the other Perona in our hand to lock down the Luffy. So that way we only have to worry about 2 attacks next turn, and we have a blocker, and we have some counter power in hand. So here we go. We do exactly what I just said there. Those attacks are locked down. We have a blocker. We have 4K counter in hand, and they only have 2 attacks. Okay, they're playing out the Trafalgar Law. Well, that's an easy 2K counter. I probably should use the X-Drake here. Yeah, just 2K counter out with the X-Drake. Okay, and now that's game, right? They swing for 8. They swing for 10. We block 1. We take the other, and there's just nothing else our opponent can do, and we're going to have enough next turn to get through, more than likely. Okay, they are really taking their time here. 8 and a 5. I can't play anything out from that. That's fine. I just let that card go. So now I don't even have to use, I don't even have to take my final life here, but I could if I choose to. Let's see. I think I probably should just to go for lethal next turn, just in case it's a trigger. Because I can't remember. I think I revealed it's a 4-cost Perona. Yep, so they attack in. It's the 4-cost Perona that we saw with our leader effect. We put a hog back on the board. It's just another attacking body. That's all that is. Okay, so now it's our turn. Swing for 7. Okay. Just waiting for our opponent now. We're going to swing for 7, 7, 7, I think. Or 7, 7, 7, 9, I think is what we're going to do. Okay. 7, 7k more. That was a 0 cost 3k. They took that one. Any trigger? No trigger. Swing for 7 more. This will cost 2 cards from their hand minimum, even if they use their effect. Pause. And yeah, they only had a 1k, and then they had 2 1ks and a brick, but I think they could have used their Trafalgar Law's effect to get out of that attack, but it doesn't matter because they're only going to have 1 card left in their hand after that, and I just attach 9 Dawn to my leader and swing through for 9. Good game to my opponent. That was a close one. That was a fun game there. But yeah, guys, Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law, this version of it has a lot of tricks. Okay, good game to my opponent. Good game to all my opponents. Let's check out the deck list one more time. And guys, I have to say, the very first immediate revisions, like in my mind right now, is -2 of Rosinante, -2 of the 9-cost Dracula Mihawk, for at least 3 of the 8-cost Dracula Mihawk. We don't necessarily have to go to 4 of them, but 3, yeah, that's going to be like the very first thing we should do because we have a lot of ways to search with this Perona. Then when it comes to some of these 5-cost cards here, I didn't use Carrot even one time, and I don't know if I necessarily need this card. The only advantage that this card has in this deck over the 4 and 5 cost Perona is it hits a 7, whereas these hit a how would you say it, like a 6 and a 5. But here's the thing, it's a little bit off, right? It's not quite what we're going for, because this makes it where the card cannot rest. The 5 cost Perona makes it where 2 cards cannot rest, and then the Perona, the 4 cost Perona makes it where they can't attack. So because of those interactions, there's probably a negative synergy there, right? Like it's not a synergy, however you say that. There is no synergy there. So this Carrot probably doesn't quite work in the deck. So I think we can cut that. And I don't think we need 3 of this 7-cost Jewelry Bonnie. I think we can go -1 of those. This Law and Beppo is nice because of how we're operating this deck. You know, we're making it where they can't attack, right? So, okay, so we'll leave their stuff open. They'll attack with what they can, and then we can use Law and Beppo, you know, against one of their really big characters they play out. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters, and that character will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Then if your opponent has 2 or more rested characters, your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. The only bad thing about that is, like I just said, we're kind of stopping them from resting, right? That's kind of the idea behind this version of the deck. We're making it where they aren't resting, right? So that could be something we have to work on. And the same idea with this Bonnie, it has a little bit of negative synergy there. We'll have to see. That's something we have to work on over time. Another option we could try to do, as far as like trying to get extra value from this, from like the leader effect, is we could run something like the 1-cost Lilith. Let me go to the 1-cost yellow cards real quick. This Lilith, wherever it is, let me just type in Lilith, guys. There's so many cards in the game now. Okay, there we go. So we got the 1-cost Lilith here. This can do a top 4 search for cards with triggers. And yeah, it will search over all of this green stuff, but it literally hits all of our yellow stuff. It just can't hit a card named Lilith, so it would not be able to search up itself. But that's okay because we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 23 targets for it to hit just right now currently, because we have 5 spots open in the deck now after making those adjustments. I'm starting to think that might be the way to go. You know, I think that's gonna be the way to go. Law and Beppo is good in here in my opinion, but it's currently not searchable in any way, shape, or form with what we have here, which is true of some of these other cards too. Like we can't search up the Bonnie in this version of the deck. In either of the Bonnies, we can't search those up. However, it might still be, I don't know, it might still be worth running this Law and Beppo, because if your opponent plays out some massive character, even if they don't have enough rested characters on the board, it doesn't matter, because you locked down their biggest attack for the turn, and you kept building up tempo and going from there. You know what I mean? So there is still some idea to run this card. We'll have to see. Same thing with the Jewelry Bonnie. It's like, it's kind of just nice utility to have access to. However, another option we could have is we could wait for them to attack in, and then we use the Jewelry Bonnie, and then on the next turn, we pull back the Jewelry Bonnie with our leader effect and keep redoing it to lock down the same target. We'll have to see. We have a lot of options. However, some cards I do want to really consider is this Lilith. Let me just add 1 to the deck for now. And then for the 5-cost stuff for green, we can really consider this Cavendish, because remember, we are a Supernova leader, okay? So we can get extra Dawn from this. Maybe we don't need to run all of these 5-cost Bonnies. Maybe we just want to run 2 of these Bonnies and then add the Cavendish. Another card we want to really consider is the yellow 6-cost secret Kuma. This card, I think, even though it's not really searchable with anything we have right now, I think it's still probably worth considering. I think this card is just too good to not include most of the time when it comes to yellow decks. And remember, in this deck, guys, we can pull it back to our hand. That's right, guys. We can pull this card back to our hand with our leader's effect. Okay, so we can gain a life with this card on the turn we play it, and then next turn we can attack for 7, pull the card back with our leader effect, and swing for 7 more. You know, so there's some really strong synergy there. And if we can build this deck in such a way, maybe we can find like the perfect split on like a Thriller Bark Pirates type deck, and then a Supernova or Slash type deck. Because another card we can consider running is the 1-cost green Searcher, Perona. Where is Perona? I think that's what it's called, right? This one. Another Perona Searcher, guys. That's crazy. Is this just going to be like the Perona Slash Searcher Thriller Bark deck or something? Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot of Slash cards in Thriller Bark. There's literally only Sindri that's searchable from the cards I have in the deck right now. But hey, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to try to include that, because this Perona can search up this 2K counter X-Drake, can search up this, you know, Mihawk. And let me see something. And then it can only search up Slash type characters or green events. We're not running any events, so that part doesn't really matter. But still, I guess it's at least worth consideration. It's worth considering maybe as a 2 or 3 of in the deck just for an extra searcher, because this searcher would actually generate card advantage for us. It would actually, you know, be able to help us out big time in that way, because we could play this out and then search up the Mihawk, and maybe that ends up becoming like our 10 Dawn play in this deck, where we just go, okay, so on 10 Dawn, we play out this Perona for 1 Dawn, right? Then we attach a Dawn to, well, we don't have to attach a Dawn to our leader yet, but let's just say we play out we search up the Dracul Mihawk, and then we play out the Dracul Mihawk for 8. We stand 4 Dawn as active. We saw 5 Dawn for the turn. We attach a Dawn to our leader. We pull back this Perona, and then we still have 4 Dawn to play out this, you know, any of these Thriller Bark characters. Or if we chose not to attach a Dawn to our leader, we could just play out something like the Cavendish. Oh, and then we still could. See, so yeah, that's probably the way we need to start building this, guys. And then it says, the other thing about this we have to consider is then you may not play a character with an original cost of 7 or more during this turn. And maybe that's what makes us give up on this Bonnie, is just trying to make this work a little bit better with, okay, guys, I'm going to get rid of Lilith now. I'm sorry, guys, we're going to have to do it. We're going to grab 4 of these Peronas and just kind of dabble with what we have here. We'll go up the 5-cost Cavendish. Wherever that card is. Why can't I find it? Here it is. We'll go up this 5-cost Cavendish. Maybe we'll even go up to 3 of these. And see, at that point, maybe we don't even need the Bonnie anymore. Guys, I'm just kind of, hey, if you're still listening, I appreciate it. But right now, I'm just kind of ranting. I'm just kind of thinking out loud while I'm recording, I guess. Because I've got a lot of ideas spinning through my head. Because I feel like this deck has a lot of potential. I think there's a lot here. And maybe we don't need all the 5-cost stuff anymore. Well, no, see, we can potentially play this out from the top of our life. With our leader's effect. There is some potential there. So I don't know. Maybe we'll keep this one in here. But yeah. This 5-cost Cavendish is very interesting in here. And the Mihawk, of course, and the Slash. Like, we actually have quite a few targets we can search up with this 1-cost Perona. But maybe we go -1 of these. Because I do still think this 2K counter Perona is more important to the deck. Because it's searching up our Thriller Bark Pirate stuff. And it can still grab Mihawk, by the way. But it's searching up our Thriller Bark Pirate stuff. And it's also getting a card directly into our trash immediately. So we can even take our first hit and go from there and maybe get a nice early trigger. So yeah, let me see. There might be something here, guys. I think we might have something here. And then let me add one more 6-cost. One more 6-cost yellow Kuma to this, the secret. And there you go, man. That's kind of an interesting start. Now, maybe in the future, we can add something. Let me see, 7 Warlords for blue and yellow. Or not blue and yellow, what am I talking, for green and yellow? There's not a lot of green. Oh, there are. There's way more than I thought. There's actually quite a bit of 7 Warlord stuff for green in the game. But there's no real good way to search it up as far as just strictly Supernova stuff, so we might have to fall away from that for now. But I was looking for something to maybe search up this Kuma. See, this is where it's unfortunate we don't have like Garp, like this, the red Garp. Some type of effect like this. If we could just search up anything that costs 3 or more here, that's on a body that we can pull back, because I know a lot of people are probably thinking, like, oh, just go to the event searcher. It's like, well, no, we need to be able to pull it back with our leader's effect. So it's too bad we don't have some type of card like Garp here that can just search up anything that costs 3 or more, and then this deck would probably be pretty ferocious. It'd probably be pretty dangerous. But yeah. But yeah, for now, though, I will say, guys, this is kind of the direction I'm leaning with it. Maybe we go down to just 2 Peronas, because remember, guys, this is a Thriller Bark Pirates character. We can search up this Perona with this Perona, as crazy as that sounds, because this doesn't say you can't search up Perona. It just searches up any Thriller Bark Pirates type card or a Mihawk. And at that point, maybe we go up to the 5th Cavendish, or we could go up to a 4th Cavendish, or a 3rd Kuma. And then from there, I don't know, we can make some revisions. This is kind of where my head's at right now, though, guys. Let me move all these cards off the screen. This is kind of where my head's at currently for this deck. We now have more options we can search up with the Perona, you know, and with this Perona, we have this is just Perona.deck, guys. Who knew that green-yellow Law is probably going to have the most options to play out Peronas. But yeah, with this version of the deck, we are a slash leader, so we can use this 1-cost green Perona, and we can use this to search up any green, any slash type character. Maybe that's what we should search up, guys. That's a whole other thing we should probably consider, is what kind of green or yellow slash cards we can look up. And yeah, I'm gonna have to save that for another video, guys. If y'all have any ideas, please say something in the comment section below. If you guys have any other ideas on this, please say something in the comment section below if you're liking this idea. Some people might not really care for this idea, and that's fine. I respect that. But man, this seems really cool, guys. This seems like it could be very, very cool. Maybe we can add another Mihawk in here. What are all the... Let me type in Mihawk, because that would be super searchable in this deck. Yeah, we get back to the 9 cost. We're already running the 8 cost. I don't really like this 5 cost Mihawk in this deck. It's more for Odyssey. But this 2K counter Mihawk might be worth considering. However, I do kind of like this X-Drake a little bit better. Well, you know, maybe we do make the swap there, guys, because what does this do? This can play out a 4 cost or lower slash type character other than Mihawk. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of targets for this, unfortunately. It can be a 4 cost. Like, the only thing we could play out from this from this entire deck with the effect of this Mihawk is the Sindri. Where's this Sindri right here? Which I guess is not terrible, right? It's still a card that is super, super searchable, and that is the most important thing. However, I think I would almost rather have the chance of hitting this card off the top of my life with my leader's effect. And notice what it does on play. If your leader has the supernova type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then set up to one of your Dawn cards as active at the end of this turn. So that gives us some options there. And now that we are running this 1 cost Perona, we could technically start searching up some of these events. Let me see something. There's no yellow Mihawks. That's interesting. I never realized that. Okay, but we can search up green events with this Perona right here. Yeah, up to 1 green event. Nice. So maybe we can start considering running something like Demonic Aura 9-sword style Asura Deadman's Game. This is an option, of course. I think there's another card that came out recently, too. Is it this Elephant Gun? Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active at the end of this turn. Well, that's kind of interesting. This isn't what I was thinking of, though. I think there was another interesting... Straw Hat event that came out recently from OP-14. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, either way, I think that the number 1 card we would want to add that's an event is this Demonic Aura 9-sword style Asura Deadman's Game. I think this could be really interesting in the deck. And like I said, now that we're running this Perona, well, now we can literally search it up. So maybe maybe we can adjust some of these numbers on the top end. Maybe we don't even need this Law and Beppo. Maybe we just get rid of this and go from there, right? Like maybe we just, like, okay, we'll just toss 2 Law and Beppo, and then we run 2 of the Deadman's Game, because that's also a 1 cost 3K, which is nice, right? You can't dismiss that, right? You can't really dismiss that. And the thing that we have to really consider with this deck is, what would you rather do on a 10 Dawn turn? If they just played out like a really big character, would you rather establish this 11K body and lock down that character for the turn, or would you rather just gain a life, which will ignore the attack? At least in theory, it will ignore the attack, and go from there, and you have other options to play out, because this is just a 6 Dawn investment. Or play out this Gecko Moria, which can play out a character to the board or gain a life, or play out this Mihawk, which is a blocker and can stand 4 and you can flood the board with it. You see what's going on there, guys? Like, we have a lot of options, and this Law and Beppo is really good. Don't misunderstand me. But what are we going for? We're gonna have to really lock down on the identity here, because I think there could be something here. All right, I'm done yapping. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one. I have not visited this leader in a long, long time, and I have to say, getting to play with these brand new OP-14 cards has really made me enjoy playing on the sim again, and really made me enjoy playing the game again. I cannot wait till we get access to these new cards, like physically. All right, let me get the outro on here, guys. Thank y'all so much for making it this far. For everybody who did, guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, or using my TCG Player affiliate link, thank you so much. You're really helping me out. I really appreciate it. If you're donating through Patreon or PayPal, if you're a Playmat supporter, a YouTube member, or part of the Discord community, again, thank you so much. You guys are really helping me out big time. This community is amazing. All right, I'm done. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, peace.